This is another fantastic question from Uche, who just booked a Mindy Kaling series. We're not saying that asking questions means that you book series, but maybe that when you care about the craft and you put the kind of work into it that Uche does and the kind of thought, maybe that's going to result in more jobs. Mistakes that actors make when approaching material. Memorizing the lines right away. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes. Do your work first. The job is not memorization. I tell my students all the time, I got extra credit in 5th grade for knowing all of the presidents. So Washington, Adams, Jefferson, Madison, Monroe, Adams, Jackson, Van Buren, Harrison, Tyler, Polk, Taylor, Fillmore, Pierce, Buchanan, Lincoln. Okay? So that doesn't mean I can act, that means I can memorize. Of course, I want you to know your lines, but memorization is gonna come last or close to last. You've got all of your character work to do, you've got your scene breakdown to do. The lines will come when you begin to understand what it is that you need or you want. So that's a big mistake. Doing the stage direction on purpose without deciding for yourself whether or not it's appropriate. I'm not saying don't do the stage direction. I have a fantastic video about stage direction you should check out. But going to it when you haven't considered what it is, right? So all of a sudden you drop your voice. Well, why? Maybe it's exactly right, but because you haven't figured out that there's somebody who's trying to eavesdrop, so you're being more discreet, it doesn't have the same impact when you know why you're doing something. So any of the stage directions, shouting just because things are all in caps, making sure that you ask it as a question just because it's got a question mark. Where would Christopher Walken be if he paid attention to punctuation? There's a wonderful story of the fabulous actor Philip Seymour Hoffman in Almost Famous, where it was written in all caps and exclamation points, and he said, I've got another way I want to do it, to the writer-director Cameron Crowe. If you don't like it, we'll do it this other way. And of course, he loved it. So making the material your own, not reading the whole script. Sometimes for auditions, you're not provided the entire script. Okay, then you've got to work with what you've got. But when you've got the whole script, read the whole script. That's your job. And there could be really, really important information about your relationships, about who you are, about so much that goes on in the script. So reading the whole script when you have an opportunity to, definitely do it. Any of the things that fall under the category of being lazy. You're actors, doesn't mean you're not human, right? Sometimes you can get lazy, don't. It's your career on the line, and it's your art. Care about your art. Remember that you're an artist. Approach yourself as an artist. If there's research that you can do, if you're doing something that's a period film, don't wear a tube top, unless it's, I guess, a period film of the 70s. But if you're doing Titanic, you're doing something that's set in the turn of the century, doing the research that you need to do to be able to convey that. Trying to give the production team, whether that's the director, the producers, the casting director, what it is you think they want. Let them tell you what they want, sure, but until then, until somebody says this is what we want, you do what you want, what your research, what your work, what your preparation leads you to do. That's the way to have a fantastic performance. Doing what you want. You're the artist. You're the artist. So approach your art as a craft. Really understand that there's work to be done. It is not just memorizing lines. Anybody can do that. Ask me who the 17th president was. I have to count, but I'll get there. Another mistake that actors will make is taking the character description, whether that's in the breakdown or in the script, as fact. What if the character, it says they're insecure? Your character's insecure. So you start acting insecure. No. You might look at what makes my character insecure, but by the way, almost every human being is insecure, even the ones that don't seem insecure. So looking at those things as if that's the only way it can be. Sometimes before an audition, you might get a note, oh, we really want it to be like this, we really want it to be that way. Okay, I wouldn't purposely disregard that, But sometimes those notes come through because other actors haven't hit what they wanted to see. Maybe you've got an authentic Southern accent and then the note comes through no Southern accents because they've heard too many bad Southern accents. I'm not saying that you should do a Southern accent when they've asked you not to do one, but again, remember that this is your stab at the character in your craft. If you find it vital, maybe you do 2 takes. One with it and one without it. But I think where actors get into trouble is trying to give casting directors, the directors, what they think they want when they don't even know what they, as the actor, want to do with the character. So enjoying the process. And like I said, at the very top of this list is starting with memorization. You've got all of these wonderful tools at your disposal, these techniques to build your character, to understand who you are and what you want. Don't throw that out by trying to memorize the lines. Just talking and listening, just really listening. Most of the time when somebody says something, you understand how to respond. Good writing is often going to reflect that, especially if you understand your character. So, Uche, keep those fantastic questions coming. From the rest of you, give me some comments, give me some questions, subscribe, like, you know the drill. Thank you. Making the material. Okay.